Hey, hey.
Hi.
Hello,
Hey,
everyone.
hey,
Hi, Julie.
Chisme. How is everybody?
I'm absolutely boiling. You guys are cold.
I don't think that Chisme's probably comfortable. Hello, Mark, the mysterious comment leaver. He actually has some good insights. Hello, Buffalo Mountain. Hello,
Hello.
Lynn.
Am I lagging behind?
I don't know. Tell me when you can hear
Hello.
this.
I can hear it.
You're good.
Okay.
The conspiracies and theories and speculations. What I am going to do is I'm going to start with the video that I'm going to be uploading. Oh, hang on. Sorry, Chisme. I didn't mean. I was calling Chisme on Discord. Oh, shit. We're connected. Hang on one sec.
Hey, Julie. Jennifer knows peace. And Marietta. Hi.
I'm not used to having the fast internet, man. That thing started so fast it scared me. Hang on. I think I'm still talking to Chisme.
Now something's going on with. I hear you.
Yeah, there is something weird happening with Discord because Ma rang me 3 times and had 3 open calls on Discord, but she wasn't there. It was weird. Oh, I love your avatar, Julie, with your Santa hat.
Guys, give me 1 second.
It
No
was
worries,
me.
darling. Hey, GB, how are
Okay.
you,
Now is
sweetie?
everything okay now?
Ma's muted. She'll be back in a
Okay.
second.
Can you hear me, Kaz?
I can, darling, loud and clear.
Okay. That was my fault. How you been doing?
Yeah, not too bad. I went for my follow-up visit for my cataract surgery that I had done in November. Everything healed well, and I got that awesome news that in February I'll be going for my left eye. So I'll have
Oh,
two good eyes, Chisby.
that's
Two,
great.
two
Then
good
it'll be
eyes.
my turn.
I won't need glasses anymore. It'd be awesome.
Oh, that'll
Never
be
heard
great.
of glasses. Oh, and no more fog. Not
Mm-hmm.
living in a world of fog is, in one eye, is brilliant, but to when the other one's done, not to live in fog at all will be life changing.
Mm-hmm. It's my right eye.
Yeah, mine was the worst. Am I right?
My mama and daddy had cataracts.
Ah.
I I wonder if everyone gets it. Everyone I know's had it.
Well, I didn't know this, but according to my ophthalmologist, I was legally blind in my right eye.
Okay.
Still driving.
Oh, that's nice. Hey, Junie. Hey, Jennifer. Hey, GB. Hello, Lilac.
Hi,
Okay.
everyone.
All right, guys. I have a chest cold, but I just want to share this part of the video that I did. Okay. Tell me if you guys can hear this. Locked up. But I still see
Loud and clear.
in somebody. Do you hear that?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Was known or seen, but he just didn't fit in. I have watched so many on, I mean, just a lot of insane stuff that I have been watching to try and see what kind of person goes in a house and murders four kids with a knife. This one, this bedroom, that makes no sense. So this was Kaylee's room. Across the hall was Maddie's room, vacant. So when you walk in the front door, this is the wall that you see. Turn left to go straight up the stairs, laundry room, shower, get into the living room. That's where you see Maddie coming up the stairs. Here's the kitchen. You've got the slider. We'll go over it later. This is the update that was out on
Okay, one
December
sec,
13th
guys.
of 2022. And let's just see what is new. They're still looking for
This way
the
we can just wrap up
Hyundai
today's
Elantra, the timeline, the areas where they're looking for
before we get into
surveillance,
the
West
other stuff.
Taylor Ave, a northbound West Palouse River Drive, a southbound Highway 95 south to the 2700 block of Highway 95 south, Arboretum, and Botanical Garden westbound. Looking for any surveillance or video from November 12th downtown by the Corner Club and the food truck. They talk about getting into Kaylee having a stalker. They pursued 100 of pieces of information but have not verified or identified a stalker. People who they do not believe are involved. Two surviving roommates, the male in the grub truck surveillance video. Why do they not say a show? I got a new mic. Okay. That's the question. Hey, Marietta, Alicia. I can't see the screen, guys. The chat while I'm sharing full screen. But every time they mention the guy at the food truck, how come they never say show water?
Yeah, they don't mention even Jack DeCour's name either. They don't mention any of their names.
Yes, they do. Do. They do. In today's update, they mentioned Jack DeCour's name. But what I find interesting from the beginning, it's never been anything about the food truck. The guy at the food truck is show water. I've been sending these girls, like, instead of typing note cards, I send them pictures of my messy hand notebooks. Yeah, Jack Showwater. They say it again. It's in this update. This is the update that came out today. Let me just share it in the video and my thoughts on what I think is going on because I'm going back to square one. But they do mention Jack in this update. Show water. Private party driver who took Kaylee and Madison home. The male Kaylee and Madison called a numerous time during the early morning hours of November 13th. Now, isn't that Jack Decor?
Yeah, but what I meant to say is they don't mention his surname or anything.
Exactly. Just like the food truck kid, which is decor. Any individual at the residence when 911 was called, or the person's name who's on the lease as the sixth. They say that there are currently no suspects are in custody and no weapon has been located, but they do not say that they do not have a person of interest. They talk about Murphy being unharmed. They talk about if a fixed blade has been purchased. They talk about moving the vehicles and then the rumor control, which we will get into together in the next live discussion. Let's go. Stranger to them personally, but I don't. My thoughts are I am going to go with the thought of it being a stranger to them personally, but somebody that they've seen around town. I am starting to think that Kaylee coming back into town to show her a Range Rover is set off this person, I believe, saw them. I am starting that he was actually inside the house waiting for them when they got home. I think he started upstairs, and I think Ethan woke up. He had to take care of Ethan because Ethan probably saw him, and then Santa woke up and he had to, unfortunately, kill her too. Danny Rollins has been in my mind from the second week of this crime. I can almost see the stalker watching from those bushes up on that hill in the trees. So I went and I Googled the weapon that Danny Rollins used. Danny Rollins actually did use a K-bar, a knife. He had multiple knives. I will show you the pictures of his collection in the next live discussion. I believe this person is definitely awkward, an incel. I do not think that he can get a girlfriend easy or girls intimidate him or he's been rejected. Enon Harsh, do I think that he is the one? I don't know. I'm sure if he was, police would have honed in on him by now. But his personality, his weirdness, his awkwardness, I think that he would definitely be a person of interest in my mind. And the neighbor, his awkwardness, weirdness, looking up probably in the girls' windows when he's walking the dogs. But do I believe he did it? I don't think so. But it's somebody on the lines of that. Just somebody who never fit in. Maybe he's got erectile dysfunction. I don't know. But that's what I feel. And I pray that there is not a serial killer in Moscow, Idaho, waiting to attack again. That is it for this video, guys. Okay.
Hey, Merrick.
Okie doke.
Hey, Justice
You
Jane.
guys hear me?
Yeah.
No,
Hello?
I can now. It's creepy how the guy at the apartments had those knives.
Which guy? Excuse me.
Uh, um, the one that he said he hadn't heard anything that night, but
Oh, yeah.
that
Yeah.
yeah,
Mr. Harsh.
yeah, Mr. Harsh.
There's a few people that have had some, well, I won't say involvement, but some have been brought into the storyline that have this fascination with knives. But I suppose that's the territory of the area. A lot of people go hunting, and I suppose they use those type of knives to go hunting. Yeah, Harsh is a chef. Yeah, he is, and he would have totally different knives to what he wouldn't have a K-bar knife. But
Yeah,
just
I don't know
seeing
if a
where those,
the K bar knives, do they leave a like a jagged? I thought they left a sharp edge, but now they're saying it was something with a jagged edge.
they come in two forms. They come, the ones I've looked up
Oh,
online, you can get either one with the straight edge, or you can get one with like, I won't call it a serrated edge, but it has the, towards the end of the knife, it has like scissor teeth towards the end. It's what I would describe. I don't know if that's the right terminology. I don't know knives, but
oh,
you
I've
get my
seen
drift. It
those,
looks
but
like teeth.
yeah, I didn't know if that would make the jagged edge gouge.
Mm. Oh, there you go. I've just been corrected. Alphabetized said usually top portion is serrated. I said, I know nothing
Oh,
about
Okay,
that.
okay.
yeah,
Can
that
you
makes
both stop
sense.
talking for a moment? Because you
Sorry,
guys are
I'll be quiet.
seriously, no, you guys are just talking over each other. So you guys got to talk one at a time. Go ahead, guys. Don't stop talking. But I can't understand what you guys are saying because I'm on so much cough medicine DM that I think I hear Chisme in my right ear and Kaz in my left.
Because you do. One's the angel and one's the devil.
Well, I know which
Good
one is the
advice,
devil.
poor advice. Yeah. See,
I should.
you talked at the same time I did. Just
Uh,
kidding. Okay, well I'll wait for y'all to finish. I'll wait for Mar and then I'll wait for Cass and then be my turn.
well, I wasn't talking.
Just now?
Well, I was
Just
saying
kidding.
for
I'm
you
giving you a
guys.
hard time.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, Chisme, it's normally me who gets in trouble. Thanks for change.
Oh, yeah, I've been getting in trouble lately.
All right, go on,
Hey,
Mum. What's your next
Alphabet.
on your agenda?
Hey, Black Eagle. My agenda? I don't know. I'm stoned on cough medicine. This is one type of knife. This is the one that Johnny showed us from the Marine Corps. And as you say, USMC. This one has a serrated edge. But then there is, oh God, the
Yeah,
lawnmower man is back.
no, that was a car. Yeah, alphabet eyes. I when you said
And
at the
this
top, I
is,
thought you meant. Oh
and
yeah,
that's
I
a
see what you
different type.
mean.
Hello, Paladin. Hello, Lilac Breeze. So this is another K bar. Actually, Paladin has a K bar. He used to wear two of them, I think, strapped to his
Oh,
chest over in,
Hmm.
it was either Israel,
I
Iran, or Iraq.
Iraq, I think.
Hey, Black.
Oh my goodness, you can buy it at any hardware store, he says.
oh
And
really?
50 variants. What the heck?
Oh, yes,
Wow.
we're going to go over what 50 variants.
Of knives. And you can get them at the hardware store.
I
Wow.
don't think you can buy a K bar that says United States Marine Corps at a hardware store. Where am I starting? We're
Yes.
going to start with a video.
Yay.
And we're going to start with the video from the guy out of Miami. And he has the woman, the forensic doctor. She's 86 years old.
Oh wow.
And then he's going, then there's a psychologist that I just absolutely found mind blowing. And then I think it's somebody that was an Army Ranger, maybe.
Fascinating.
So let me
I hear
pull
a
him
jet.
up. Right? Right, Chisme?
I heard a jet.
I heard the Concorde.
Yeah, I'm coming over to you guys.
So this guy comes
I'm
out of
surprised you don't hear him
Miami.
here.
Go ahead, Chisme.
I'm surprised you don't hear the jets here because we have 5 military bases.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's it.
wait. Paladin said that you can actually buy a K bar from a hardware store. What?
Yeah. Remember, I was reading his comment.
Oh, I'm going to buy a K-bar tomorrow. I wonder if Arbishon has one. I'm going to buy two, and then I'm going to get some leg holsters for my little legs.
Get some for Fiona.
Interesting, Paladin. Yeah, Mark's got some interesting insights. I don't know if you guys have been reading his comments. I have.
Mm, yeah. Oh,
Even under the videos, a wide domain as blade weapons as shown to ninja karate sales instance, where I observed $39 US delivered, some as a bit longer to a more sword type construction. I would probably hurt myself with something like a
yeah.
sword. Okay. Look, I didn't even subscribe to him yet, and I'm sitting here ranting about him. This is Surviving the Survivor. He is a news anchor in Miami.
Oh, I saw this. Yes. I don't know
He's
his name, but
great.
I like
This is,
that lady. Yeah.
yeah, the lady the lady and the forensic psychologist is absolutely, in my opinion, from what I think is going on between him, Carson, and I think I kind of like John Gillian too, even though people are getting mad about what he's saying about Kaylee's father. But, Kaylee's father has to stop putting out information that the killer might be the only one who knows. And at the end of the day, what if those were things that the police did not want out? Does my voice sound weird?
On and
Yeah,
off.
it
Does
does
that?
sound weird, but that's what happens when you get a chest cold, darling.
Do
Oh,
you mean like
really,
going in and
Paladin?
out?
No, because I have that chest cold.
Oh, it's not too bad.
You should
So if
see.
if I start coughing, it's not because I'm smoking pot. It's because I have a serious chest cold, guys.
Okay. Just kidding.
No, I Chisme, you know I'm sick.
I know you're sick, but it could be either or.
You're a shit stirrer, Chisme.
Lynn, we're gonna watch the father's deal on that, but did I drop his link yet? I'm gonna put it in the description too, even though I
Yeah, you
forget.
did.
Oh,
I
okay.
put it in the chat.
I agree, Paladin, that Kaylee's father is putting the potential jury pool at risk they may have to move the venue to Boise.
I
Absolutely.
agree.
But wait till I show you guys. Hello, Polythan. Wait till I show you guys Enan Harsh's background. Yeah, he's got a background. I still something strange about him. Either he wants his 15 minutes of fame, but just I mean, he would be the perfect type of person that I would see in my mind, personality wise, the things that he does. Wait till I show you guys the fire stick juggling in the road. Yeah, he's weird. Just weird. All right, here we go. Yeah, he's good. He's in Miami. You guys will probably, if any of you guys come from South Florida, you'll know who he is. I think it might be the morning show or today's show.
Sunday will mark 4 weeks since down, and you guys are in for a treat.
You
We've got
can't hardly
an
hear it, Ma.
amazing panel of 3 all-stars. One of them, a legend in her own right. You're looking at Ann Wolbert Burgess. She is an internationally recognized pioneer
Ma,
in the
can you turn
assessment
it
and
up?
treatment
It's
of
very
victims of
low.
trauma and abuse, and the author of A Killer by Design, Murders, Mind Hunters, and My Quest to Decipher the Criminal Mind. Among her many awards and accolades in 2016. She was named a living legend by the American Academy of Nursing. This resume, I could go on for 3 days. She also worked with the FBI Academy Special Agents.
No, it's still low.
Serial offender, abuse, juvenile delinquency, and subsequent perpetration. You know the super successful Netflix show Mind Hunters about the FBI's first day of criminal profiling. She worked with the real life agents that show is based on, and unlike my cardboard cutout mother here, who's not Mary Bricado, a Columbia University clinical psychologist, researcher.
They said she's a nurse.
That's an important thing to know when you're looking for a killer. He is the co-author of The New Evil, Understanding the Emergence of Modern Violent Crime. And the handsome man in the bottom corner with a clean-cut haircut is Jeff Wood, retired FBI out of Boston. He gets the shortest bio because I just found out that he was joining us. Welcome to one and all. Thank you, guys and women.
I'll just jump in and mention that I'm no longer with Columbia. I'm now in private practice and affiliated with Boston College, where Ann is as a visiting scholar. So it's only right to say that I have transitioned out of there.
Beautiful. Well, we love Boston.
I got a new mic and I just can't. I think they put their volume backwards, the on and the off. And I'm like, yeah, the guy on the bottom right is, you guys tell me what you think if you have not already heard this. But this is a great interview. And the woman on the top, she's 86 years old and she is brilliant.
In college, I went to Brandeis, it's in the same neighborhood, so welcome. Just a quick programming note, on supported, we're getting a lot of people joining. You get ad-free content, you get behind-the-scenes footage, and this January 5th, you're getting a live meet and greet with this woman. You can talk about the Holocaust, fun stuff like that, serial killers, more fun stuff, or you can ask her anything. She's also a licensed therapist. Before we get going, I like to do this on the show. Just want to remember all the victims in this case. Sometimes this stuff becomes a whodunit. We forget that they're actually real people. So we've got Madison Mogan, 21, Kaylee Gonzalez, 21, Xana Kernodle, 20, and Ethan Chapin, 20.
Mm-hmm.
FBI officers getting sent. Elantra put a bulletin out for yesterday. It's a 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra, which investigators say they believe
Mark, can you turn the volume up?
may have critical
It's still
information
too
to
loud.
share regarding this case. First to the legend, Anne.
Cavs, are you guys having a problem hearing it? Because it's really blaring through my headphones.
Well, even Marietta says,
Chisme.
can you turn the volume up, please? So it's not just me.
Okay, I'm going to. Here we go. It's 100 across the board. So watch your ears, guys.
How big a deal is this that police are finally putting out a
See,
possible
that doesn't
suspect?
sound loud at all.
Well, a car is certainly a
Okay.
good piece of evidence, if indeed it turns out to be, as they get down all kinds of ways that they can work that. And police are very good, our law enforcement, at cars. I remember working with the behavioral
That is on 100.
Are you sharing your audio?
productive.
I can
Now,
hear it
you know,
on
there-
mine,
As with these
but
high
it
profile,
cutting in and out.
Yeah, it's cutting in and out.
Oh my gosh. Are you serious that you cannot hear that?
I
It's a
can
little bit
hear you,
better.
but I can't hear that. It's cutting in and out, like Charlie Brown's teacher.
Who?
The video, it's cutting in and out, but I can hear you
media,
clearly when you
everyone is a
speak.
cyber
Yeah.
sleuth. I saw FBI.
The video's cutting in and out? The video.
Yeah, on
Yeah.
my end, not the
I don't.
video.
I
The
think
sound
it's
on the
you
video.
guys. No,
I'll
the
just
video
mute.
sounds.
I'll just mute.
Yeah, they're saying the sound is okay. Marietta is saying she can.
I can hear it.
Marietta said good. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna stay into the small frame so that it plays better.
And I don't know if you saw this, as the officer is approaching the home, you suddenly the
he's probably going to take quick note of the car. He's being called to the house, and that's going to be where the threat is for him, right? What's going on inside the house. He's going to keep his situational awareness of what is going on all around him, but he needs to get to the house and find out what's going on in the house, not only for his safety, but for the safety of anyone still in the house. And is there someone still a threat in that house? And that's where his main focus will be. So everything, but his focus will be on the house initially, because that's where the call was to go and respond.
Gary, you wrote a book called co-authored a book called The New Evil: Understanding the Emergence.
Okay, how is this, guys? How is that?
Sounds good.
Kaz. Okay, your Kaz is ignoring it now. I'm not seeing
I
any
could hear.
issues. Like the internet's good.
Yeah, it's better now since you shrunk it.
Yeah, because my internet just switched over yesterday, so it's definitely not my internet. Let me see one thing.
It must be just that one
It's probably
video.
because it's
I went to get my pods and I plugged in my phone and it's working fine on my phone. So
all right. Hang on one sec, guys. I'm gonna switch over to a. Okay, here we go.
Of modern violent crime. I mean, if you can break it down, how do you think
Hey, Shredder.
killers in Idaho?
Well, there's a whole can of worms with this question, because the point of that book is really twofold. The first half of it is to talk about the idea that there's a very wide spectrum of motives for committing crimes, which I must say in earlier generations stuck lower to the lower in the scale on average, and you see a lot more of the higher up stuff on the scale, which takes a lot more change in personality, audacity, narcissism, sadism, cruelty, things like that. I swear, if you use that scale as like a thermometer, the culture is getting worse. But I would say that that book is the idea that there are many people that would commit very heinous acts because of situational factors that they would not repeat, because it is not really an.
Okay. Have any of you seen this? Because this guy on the bottom right, what he's going to say, uh, he's good.
I've seen
I've
it,
never,
but I forgot what he said.
and I've never seen
What,
this.
Kaz?
I've
Oh,
never
yeah,
seen this.
yeah. This is great. She is just brilliant.
Yeah, I could listen to her for
Part of their
days.
personality to do it. It's happening out of circumstance, desperation. As you move up the scale, to move through different degrees of theism, now the crimes don't make as much sense because clear discernible motive here. Some thing that, like for example, in this Idaho case, there's no overt sexual assault. So then you say, well, what would be the point of doing this? Well, there must be a point. Most people don't just do things for no reason, except for that small fraction of people who do things like this because they're profoundly disturbed or on drugs or alcohol. So that the question is, what would the motive be? And what makes that a little tricky when we look at modern crime, particularly since the 1960s in the Western world, is that a lot of things are an expression of sexual frustration, an outlet of sexual frustration, whether it's overt or not overt. And Anne, for example, was one of the people who really helped to elucidate that sex crimes don't have to necessarily involve overtly sexual things. That person can express those frustrations in butchery or mutilation without any real clear indication. And then the second half, just to get into the idea that there are crimes that couldn't happen in previous generations because the technology didn't exist, like the internet or the microwave, for example, which was used for murder almost immediately upon its invention, right, to kill an infant. As soon as something is invented, someone uses it in a new way, right?
In the
The
microwave.
metaverse, we were, Anna and I, something we were talking about recently, is pretty much a matter of time until it's used for crime, right? People do that. But there are also new evil in the sense that some crimes involve cultural disinhibition, changes in what people will permit and tolerate. So that as the culture changes, the likelihood of these more audacious crimes increases. As a matter of fact, this Ohio crime is awful, but one hates to admit that you could look at the front page of the newspaper over the course of a year and it almost starts to become.
If you want me to pause anybody to discuss what you're hearing, just tell me to pause because
I
he's
thought he
very
said,
interesting.
yeah, I thought he said Ohio, but he must have just misspoke.
Yeah, he's going to be corrected in a second.
Oh, and did he say something about killing an infant? Or am
A
I
what?
just hearing kill an infant?
Yeah, you have. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Uh,
Ugh.
hope I don't give you guys my cooties. But he's going to correct him. He did say Ohio on accident.
A common, like, common years ago have been like the crime of the century.
Yeah. I think you said Ohio, but I think you
Yeah.
meant Idaho.
Excuse me, Idaho, yes. If it's crime, it would have been the crime, you know. And I'll also Aki Gergis at Columbia work on the mass murder database, which is the largest database of mass murder to our knowledge ever compiled. And this is a mass murder. This Idaho case is a mass murder. And I think we really have to understand it from that perspective. Although it has a lot of qualities of like a lot of other offenses that it's tempting to get into, I think we really have to understand that this is somebody who committed a mass murder, right? Which according to some definitions is 3 or more victims in the same place at the same time. And other definitions is 4 people in the same place at the same time or more. By either definition, we're looking at a mass murder. So just to put those things out
Serial
there, but I think
killer.
this is really going to come down to motive, and I bet it's a decidedly modern one.
Sadly, we are the world capital of mass murders, unfortunately. And to you, the legend of the panel. I spoke to a Navy SEAL who's also a former FBI special agent, and he said he didn't think it was a rage killing. And I'm going to get into a little bit more of what his take was a little deeper into the show. He does not think it's a rage killing. Do you, and how are you profiling this killer from the information that you've gathered thus far?
Well, only have the information, of course, has been released to the public. And the important thing is if he's thinking rage in terms of what would also be considered overkill, that far more injury to each victim than was necessary to kill the victim. If that's a definition, that would be important to know, because we don't know. We still have the number of stab wounds, et cetera, and more importantly, what part of the body. Is this more contained to the face and the neck and the chest, or is it other parts? So again, once that information comes out, we'll have a better lead on. But the issue of rage, just meaning over aggression to the bodies of these 4 young students, it still doesn't say motive. From that standpoint, that a knife was used, that's important. A knife, how many types of cases are knives used? I know in our study, we did have 1 mass murder, and that Richard's back in the 60s, I think. And so he was one of our 36. And so I've been trying to look at that to see if there's any differences, any similarities, that kind of thing. But he used a variety of ways of killing the young students. But in this case, in your Idaho case, again, I'd like to wait a little bit to see how much injury to the victim and what location of the injury.
I'm going to get to Jeff about the crime scene in a moment, but Anne, Steve Gonzalez, Kaylee's father, has been speaking quite a bit to the media. One of the things that he said was that the injuries, and I don't have the exact verbiage in front of me, that the injuries to his daughter, Kaylee, were more severe, more pronounced than to Maddie. Are you reading anything into that? When I spoke to this Navy SEAL, he said it could be that she was a target. It could be that they got to Maddie after the person got to Maddie afterwards and could have just been fatigued. This, without getting too macabre, this Navy SEAL was saying it is difficult to kill a person. It takes a lot of effort. But what do you think about the fact that came out and said that the injuries his daughter were worse?
Some what the meaning of that would obviously be in the motive of the offender. If there was more, again, I want to know location to see where it is, what number she was in terms of being of the four. They need a lot of strength for young people who, some of them obviously could have woken up and resisted. We don't know that. But I think the other important thing is it was dark. Unless he turns the lights on, it was dark. So he's doing this. Does he really know who is who, if you will? That would be important. And why he leaves the first two and goes to the next floor, the third floor, and kills the others. Something, and that's where his daughter was. I think that is important. So that if he, there's been a lot in the media about targeting.
Isn't that interesting what she says? About being in the dark.
Yeah, she's a smart lady.
But think about it. I think he was waiting inside the house.
Yeah, and it's a dark neighborhood.
Interesting. Yeah, she's a very smart woman.
And so again, I think that's important information. And I was again with the understanding that the context that it's in. I just find a lot of the lights being off and who is he stabbing and how much does he even have? I think there's some talk that they can wear these lights in the dark that would shine on person, but that had to have been a very well planned type of crime.
Oh, what if he came in like the movie Silence of the Lamb and he was wearing those night vision goggles? Oh, that is so creepy.
It's possible because they have them now. I bet you can buy those anywhere. But you
How
can get the
scary.
night vision binoculars and, cameras. I want one.
Imagine him sitting in the house, like in a closet or something, or hiding somewhere with that, or in that empty bedroom where the sixth roommate didn't was not in.
Yeah, I noticed something about that house. The house that I'll tell you after this.
How scary.
Just to follow. So let's say it was the abdomen as opposed to the neck. What does that location tell you as someone that reads uh, into the money's killer?
More if they're at the neck and the chest. That is usually where you would see stab wounds. To the abdomen, that could just be that he's just not visualizing well where he's stabbing. That's going to be a less of a lethal weapon. You have fewer arteries in that area unless you get down. I think there was blood from what they say. It's got to be probably more to the neck and the chest, which is very well planned. That to me says he's very well planned.
So Jeff, NBC News had an interesting report. They spoke to some former FBI agents such as yourself. And basically the gist of this story is one of these FBI agents says, look, it's going to take a long time. This is not like the TV show. It's not like CSI. And this agent went on to say, former agent went on to say, it's complicated by the chaotic nature of the murders, the layout of the rented house where the victims were found, the likelihood that many students hung out or partied there, collecting and processing hundreds of DNA samples, and then looking for a potential suspect or suspect's genetic profile could take weeks or months. Do you agree with that? And how difficult is it to process this crime scene?
I do agree with that. I was not a homicide investigator. I spent my 20 years in the FBI conducting investigations targeting violent gang members. So I helped out in many instances after the fact where a murder took place and helped out in different ways to help solve murders. But I do know that when you have a situation in this case where, yeah, you've got an apartment building, you're going to have a party, you're going to have friends over, so you're going to have people in and out of that place. So you're going to have fingerprints left there, DNA left there. So in this situation, when the murder takes place, that you're collecting a whole lot of DNA, and now you're going to have to try and get comparisons to that DNA to develop a suspect. So it can take a long time. There's a lot of different techniques that the law enforcement can use. Now that the state police helping out, the town's police department, you've got the FBI, you have other federal agents. There's a lot of techniques that can be brought into bear to help try and narrow down suspects, but it's still a painfully long process. And one thing that I've seen in my career, juries and the public look at our TV shows, look at our movies, and you solve a crime in an hour, you solve a crime in 2 hours in the movie. And they expect law enforcement to be able to solve these horrendous crimes that quickly and have it wrapped up nice and neat in a bow. And it doesn't even, and there's a misconception sometimes of what we can gather from a crime scene. So, you may not have a fingerprint left there that's key. So let's say they did find a knife. The suspect's fingerprints may not be on the knife. And a jury may demand, hey, this is 2022, there should be fingerprints on the knife. Just because maybe the person was wearing gloves. So no, there won't be fingerprints on the knife. So it makes it difficult. And one of the things that's great about our justice system is you have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law. I've done a lot of cases where an hour after murder, I knew who did it, but I would never have enough to make an arrest because I didn't have the information to on to the enough to say no. But just because I know, how do I can't say I know. I have to have evidence to show how I know. Does that make sense?
100%. And that is a very important distinction. You can't say I know, you got to prove it, and you got to prove it. Gary, you're the PhD psychologist here. If you had to paint a portrait of this killer, is this guy alone?
Okay. Are you there, Casa Boo Boo?
Yes, I am now. Mel called me from the ship, reminding me I had to go over to her house on the chores I had to do.
It's her birthday tomorrow, right?
No, the 17th is her birthday.
Oh,
Ross's
that's
birthday
right.
on the 16th.
I keep
Yeah, she's
thinking that
sailing
because
the ocean wide on a humongous ship.
it's Eddie's birthday.
Yeah.
All right. This part right
So,
here, guys, blew me away. I had to go back and listen to it like 10 times.
Owner, you think it's someone that knew these young women and this young gentleman? Who is this guy in your estimation from what you've heard?
Shredder.
I think we have to be very careful about speculating here until we have a lot more information. We've had crime scene photos and autopsies and so forth.
That's funny, Shredder. I've got a kid, the 14th. My grandma was the 17th. Kaz's hubby is the 16th. And her daughter and my grandma have the same birthday. And Shredder is the 20th. Okay. Fill me in.
But I will say one thing that's been interesting to me about this case based on the mass murder work I've done is that in the Columbia database, what we've showed very clearly is that the weapon is the key. Because when firearms are used, it is statistically far less likely that the individual is dealing with any severe mental illness. When a weapon other than a firearm, whether it's a knife crashing an airplane into the side of a mountain, bombs or explosives of any sort, bludgeoning, whatever, it becomes statistically more likely that the person is authentically troubled in a kind of psychotic or quasi-psychotic way. And if that is true, what it would imply is that the person would be somebody that would be off-putting to other people, not somebody that would be a slick, likable person, but somebody that would be rejected and odd to other people. Now, the possibility exists that this is an individual who may actually go on to be a serial killer, meaning that after a cooling off period, it happens again. It's about 11.78%, if my math is correct, I remember.
This man is absolutely brilliant. I've been saying this from week 2. I think it's a Danny Rollins Jr.
yeah, or a copycat.
Maybe a copycat. The only thing is that he went to 4 different locations. This guy seems to target 4 in 1 house. This guy is brilliant.
About 11.78% of people in the database were not you can have all kinds of motivations, sexual frustrations, mission-oriented kind of, hostilities towards people, etc. Now, among these people who commit mass murder of this type, of the blade type, what you sort of see are people that either impulsively grab whatever is around them and kill an entire group of people, like cases that you sometimes see in China of mass murder. For some reason, it's a phenomenon that you see, we encountered many times in the literature of, let's say, a very depressed, psychotic mother taking a blade to school and killing the children of other people because of the despair that she's experiencing. That kind of impulsive, quasi-psychotic or fully psychotic kind of emotional upset leading to mass murder with a knife, because that's what just happens to be there. But the other thing that you see are people where there is almost a kind of odd, what we would call schizoid, kind of psychotic-like detachment from, warm, normal human relations, and a kind of a paranoid detachment from people, and an individual that can feel very slighted and deeply, brood and feel kind of paranoid about rejection, particularly by women, or come to view certain kind of person. And that kind of individual tends to live a very mechanical, restricted existence, to be very drawn to things that are regimented and kind of stuff, and to have an explosive temper. And that kind of person, if they were to commit an act like this, the blade would be selected because of its intimacy with the victim, expression of all of that envy and rage and feeling, that, left out. And that kind of person, if that is what we're dealing with, that would be a person that would be considered an odd duck to other people. But you wouldn't want to mess with, because you'd feel that underneath the surface, they could really flip on you. And that kind of person would do something like check an area out for a long period of time and plan like they were going in like a hunting mission. The idea would be that the steps would all be very meticulously planned out. And the idea would be, today is D-Day. I'm going in, and this is what I'm going to do. And they're all going to pay. And then I'm going to leave and get a that was.
Yeah, Kaz, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's very riveting what he's saying. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Yes, Lilac, he's very wise in what he's saying, and it does make a
I
lot
mean,
of sense.
it's like he's totally describing him, considering 4 weeks and 2 days or 3 days and nobody in custody. I don't, I mean, I'm starting to think that maybe this guy has done this before. Like, this is crazy.
Mm,
Unless they have his DNA and it's just not in the system and he's never been caught.
yeah.
But he's definitely killed animals,
I
in my
mean,
opinion.
he could have done this in his head multiple times. Like people like this tend to, and I've watched so many documentaries about people write
Mhm.
stories about doing it, and they plot what they're going to do so meticulously,
Yep.
and but they never actually go through with the fantasy until something triggers them to do it, and then they follow through with it, where it no longer, you don't get the pleasure from that fantasy of it just running through the head. They actually have
And
to do it.
what if that trigger? What if he was watching Kaylee up there for a while and then Kaylee left? And
Yeah,
what if the trigger was Kaylee coming back into town in the Range Rover, and guarantee he watches her social media?
because if you think statistically, what are the odds of Kaylee deciding to just pop back to Moscow to show Maddie the car before she went off to Texas to move to Texas, and on that night, come down Friday night, stay Friday night, and go out with Maddie, and also Ethan staying over that night with Xana, and that murder happens on that night. I mean, statistically, it's pretty, the odds are pretty high of it not happening, you know.
Yeah, that's definitely would be considered a big coincidence.
Oh, I mean, the odds of that occurring, of somebody planning it, it wouldn't have happened because A, they wouldn't have known that Kaylee was coming home, or not coming home, coming back to see Maddie, and they wouldn't have known whether or not Ethan was going to stay over with Xana that night. So,
He may not have known that Ethan was going to stay over, but I believe he knew that Ethan was there.
well, it all depends on whether he got surprised with Ethan. If Ethan heard somebody open that door, that sliding door, and that's what woke Ethan up. And Ethan got up to see what the noise was, and that's what ended Ethan's life. If he was only going for, say, Kaylee, let's just say he was only interested in Kaylee, and Ethan disturbed him when he came in through that sliding door, and that's what got Ethan and Xana to
Oh,
lose their
I
lives.
agree. I agree that we'll talk about that after the video, but I feel without a question of a doubt that he knew everyone who was in that house. I think he was in that house waiting. That's my own opinion. I'm gonna get a poll out. But let's
Mm.
go ahead and watch this because
Well,
I'm
sweet,
only
I'm gonna
gonna
have to
watch it
love you and
until he
leave you.
leaves, and he leaves soon.
Like, I'm gonna have to love
Huh?
you and leave you. I'm gonna love you and leave you.
Okay.
I'm gonna leave you
It
with
should be
Chisme's hands. Because I've got things I've got to get done before it gets dark here.
okay, honey.
All right, and
Okay. See you
All right, love you.
later.
I can't find the things around Mel's new house in the dark.
All right, be careful.
I will
Okay.
do.
Good
Thanks
talking to
everybody for
you.
coming. Lovely to see you all here, and Mar's got so much more to show you. Stay for the rest, folks. I wish I could, but I will watch it later on. Love to all. See you guys.
Love you. Bye
Love
bye.
you guys. Love you,
Bye.
Ma. Love you, Chisme.
Love you,
Ciao.
babe. Okay.
Anything to do it. They just become completely emotionally overwhelmed. So you put all these pieces together. I think we're really speculating when you find this person, if they do, this is your line. A little too cold, a little too regimented, a little bit too interested in things like, blades and weaponry and hunting and things like that, and who coolly, in a detached way, planned to express rage. And that is very different than a person who experiences rage impulsively. That's what it feels like to me. And there are mass murders like that, and they are especially cruel. And the only final thing I'll say about that kind of mass murder is that when they do it, usually there is a target, and everyone else is like basically collateral damage.
Mm.
So that there's that one individual who is home as the object of fixation, and anyone else who has to take the blade just because of their property, or because they sort of mentally remind the person too much of that individual, the person they're dating, the people they love, the whatever. It's just to kind of wipe them out. And in flavor,
Creepy.
kind of okay. Someone who is angry that other people are more accepted and more loved, more desirable, and more relaxed and comfortable socially. So that's the kind of person who would say, if I can't have it, why should you?
And there are the person that you're describing. There are a few odd characters in this case. We'll get into a few of them in a few minutes, but and I wanted to
That
get
answered your question. That was a long answer, but I hope that answered your question.
the thorough answer as expected.
Could I add one thing though?
Absolutely, please.
Yeah, Jeff, tell me what you think about that.
I completely agree with you on that level, but I would, again, this is coming from my gang
Yes.
experience and coming from
Yes.
My last case being MSD and district gang, initially founded as an American gang, but is now morphed into that Central American gang. And they brought that Central American business members, and they related weapons. So of
I
American
don't think this is a game.
Asian act speaks true.
We eliminate them, Jeff. We took them out of the database. People who were committing mass murder in the context of crime, like
You know what's funny too, though? We can't forget Xana's mother. Okay, I mean she was dealing
Yeah.
with how much? How much did that add up to be? Shows me the money of the 750,000 fentanyl pills.
Well, millions of dollars, but 32,000 pills equals $700,000. I mean, I'm sorry,
No,
32,000 pills equals 13,000. I know that. I mean, shit. Let me start over.
Phew.
There, 32,000 pills equals $13 million.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we can't forget about that. She literally got out on her own good recognizance because I'm sure of what happened to Xana, and then she has to still go to court. But we still know that it happened in Arizona, and they arrested her in, I think it's Lada County, and then they let her get out because I guess everything going on, which I don't blame them. But how do
Hmm.
we know? And then the taxi cab driver did say that it was a big party neighborhood. Now, I don't think these girls were involved, but I mean, were they selling extras to get extra money around? I don't know, but there's a lot of things that could lead up to somebody doing what they did, which should never have been done, but I'm still going with a stalker. He keeps saying a mass murderer, but I think it's a serial killer, in my own opinion.
But I'm saying for a law enforcement perspective,
Yes.
on a I mean, it would not be my priority. I would not say that this is my number one lead type thing, but I would never rule out some type of criminal aspect. Like you don't, I don't want to, this isn't to say that there was any criminal activity committed by the victims here, but
Right.
we have to say maybe they knew a criminal, who knows? But if you had a criminal who was a gang.
Well, Lynn, that's what he just said, because it takes a special kind of person to use a knife. Did you, I mean, most, when you think about it, think of all the serial killers. Most of them were hands on. They want to get up close and personal. And a knife is pretty up close and personal. It takes a special kind of nutter butter. He was just explaining it. People that use knives instead of a gun.
Member, it wouldn't have necessarily that same mentality. It was just something for I would keep down low on my lead board, or like here possible things. Just and so in that case, 99% of the time I'm with you. But what if you had that 1% chance where this is someone who, with the MS-13 gang, they love their knives and machetes and hacking people to death constantly. So for me as an investigator, I won't rule out anything until my evidence is pointing somewhere. So I just wanted to add that to it.
I think it's a really important and smart point, and I think the reason that blades and things might be used is because the crime scene is also a message to would be talkers and witnesses. And like there was no reason to kill these people, to either send a message or to emotionally. And that's why you have to say killing in ways other than expeditiously with a gun, that a special cruelty that has to have a driver. And that's where I think the gang thing is interesting. But if it were a gang thing, Jeff, you told me, this is your area, wouldn't it be more to send a message? That
It absolutely would. It would be to send a message. I mean, MS-13 did it because they're showing.
But I think if a gang did it, Chisme, don't you think if a gang did it, they would let them know that the gang did it?
I wouldn't say a gang, but
Kind of like
an
when,
individual or individuals.
well, they're talking about gangs. The guy in the bottom is a gang task force officer. But I think if a gang did this, I think that they would of want it to be known that it was done by a gang. But what he just said, it takes a special kind of special that somebody uses a knife. Like it's just the cruelty, the cruelty.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Everyone, this is our territory, and this is how we let everyone know that we're instilling fear into that community. So if this was somehow related to a gang or some kind of criminal activity, it's
No more gang.
outside, maybe asked to have them as waitresses or something. I mean, this risk level of the victim.
That's involved in well, Idaho, Moscow, Idaho, much different
Yeah,
than Boston
it's
or
breaking
Miami,
up.
where I am. Everyone out there is a hunter. A lot of people are carrying knives. Maybe that's part of it. And to you, do you think this killer has killed before? If you had to guess.
Oh, she left me hanging. I want to know. Mar, are you there? Hello? Or maybe that's all they had is a knife.
I was switching internets. No, I think the K bar that was brought was a personal knife. Because don't you kind of think that if it wasn't important to the person, they might have thrown it or left it or just grabbed a knife at the house? This guy came prepared. Big time.
So I did want to say a few words about the victim because my area is much more in the victim area. We don't have a lot of information, but the one tiny bit I could find is the agents would always profile from the risk level, the victim and the risk level of the offender. From the risk level of the victim, it would be very low if you just take the crime scene. They were in bed sleeping, whereas the risk level to the offender, it was not too high because it was night and the victims were sleeping, so he had a lot of control over them. However,
Hey, Colleen.
increase the possibility. So were there certain people that outside maybe asked to have them as waitresses or something? I mean, that might be an area that they get into. The other point I wanted to make that we learned from the from the serial killer study is that some of these offenders, and maybe Gary or Jeff can comment on this, would go into these at night, would go into wherever the crime was going to be committed and get very, very familiar, go around the rooms, get very familiar with things and so forth. We've seen enough of that. So could there have been some of that going on ahead of time?
Hey, Squirt.
We do know evidently that there had been it was a quote, a party house, but that evidently that night there was not a party that I have seen any information on. People came in afterwards, but not before. It sounds like they all came home. The other interesting point is, could he access that first floor where the other two students were, or would he have had to come in and go into the separate door? That would be interesting to know whether he just omitted them, whether he got tired, whether he didn't know they were there. I mean, a number of things to look at.
I think a question that so many people I know online are raising about the two that survived. From what we know, I believe they were in the basement level. And I've actually had someone on the podcast whose husband lived in that very house 25 years ago when they were in law school. The house has been, built upon since then. And they say it's essentially like three little homes in one, the way it's constructed. So that is an interesting point. Jeff, to you, because this is also coming
Can I just say what you just reminded me of something is I would want to know the whole history of who had rented that house, because that might give some idea. Many of these offenders go back to a place where they feel very comfortable, or they've had some childhood memories or whatever. So that
Ooh.
whoever owns the house might have a history of people
Yeah,
who
I
are,
agree with Scorp. I thought that from the
Nope.
beginning.
A lot of people, they're already calling this a cold case. When would this become a cold case? I spoke to one forensic expert who says they'll be on this very hotly and heavily for at least 2-3 years before.
What I will say is, in general terms,
All right, this last part with him,
And since we don't know,
not you.
The killer, as opposed to stabbing them while standing up or mounting them. What does that tell you?
they should, they may
Ooh,
well be able
hello,
to tell
Colleen.
from the angle that the wound is and how it went in. Again, if it's not a lot, if these wounds run together, that's what we're really waiting to see, because you've really had two different divergent opinions. One is there's a lot of blood around, and others where there wasn't. I mean, if these young people went in to find them at noon that next morning and they had to call other people because they thought they were unconscious, it couldn't have been a lot of blood. I mean, I would have thought they would have been horrified initially and called, more than just other friends. It was a second floor. The third floor really was. I think top is gonna things.
And I definitely don't want to pick on them, but this is stuff that this person whose name I cut off says, and Gary, I'd love your take on this. I know you don't want to speculate, and I absolutely respect that, but this commenter says the sister of Kaylee in her first interview and the affect of her father all along have been very odd to me. The words they would say right at the beginning about the gory specifics of the crime with zero emotion, I could not relate. I've been trying to chalk it all up to potentially them being on medication, ? That all being said, I agree with Jonathan, who is our guest. You can rule anyone out. Your thoughts?
Nope.
well, look, again, let's be careful here. But what I will say is, in general terms, is that there have been cases that I've looked at, read about, where people are traumatized, and the trauma limits their effective expression. It's a common, of PTSD or trauma, that there's a kind of flattening of the emotional experience and numbing, so that you can't read into that. I think it's important not to do. I mean, from a mental health perspective, the danger of doing that is interpreting into all the details of this case.
can I add something to that?
Absolutely.
After 9/11, I spoke to a lot of the family members. One of my initial jobs after 9/11 was to interview the people who dropped off their loved ones that got onto the flights in Boston and flew out of Boston. Gary's absolutely right. You just lost your daughter, your son. Parents are not, parents expect their kids to outlive them. So to say that, we can see how they're going to react. Everyone reacts differently to that stress. Everyone reacts differently to that trauma. So Gary's completely right. And we can't automatically assume that people are going to act like we would think we'd act, right? And that's the situation here. And
I think one of the
emotions of people I interviewed. So I completely agree with Gary.
I think one of the things that kind of raised a lot of people's radar with Gonzalez's family is that Stephen Gonzalez's brother is serving a sentence for murder. And so his name is Nathan Gonzalez. And it was a recent murder, and I don't know. So maybe people are, connecting dots that shouldn't be connected. But we got to.
Okay. That's all I wanted to listen to on that part was that doctor and how he explains the person that uses a knife. Yeah, it would have been I
Yeah.
think if it was somebody that was coming to have anything to do with the 750,000 fentanyl pills that Xana's mom was connected to, I think they probably would have used a gun.
I don't know. I still think Jack is the primary suspect, you know, but there are other possibilities, other theories. And then one of my theories is not necessarily a gang, but maybe whoever was going to benefit from the millions of dollars off of the fentanyl, they lost all that money and they lost the pills, so they're going to get even.
Yeah, I don't think that at this point now, after everything I've looked at, that Jack the core is involved. I
Did
think
you
it's
hear about did you hear the crime circus? He had looked into the comments he'd made
mhm.
on her Instagram.
I saw all of that, but I
Mm-hmm.
just don't. I just don't. I just can't. Hang. I'm trying to find this. I just can't see him doing it.
Or
That
his
takes
comments
a
to
lot.
her were like inappropriate.
Yeah, I saw the comments. Okay, but what was scary is when they were talking about hair marks. Like that's scary.
What was he talking about?
Kaylee's father,
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
big open gouges, calling the
Yep.
cops cowards. I think it's so cold out tonight that I think the wires are frozen.
Mm, I bet.
Hello, Steve Harper. Yeah, Colleen. I like everyone's opinion. I personally
Oh,
think it's
Scorpio, they found out. Yeah. They found out the screams, it was a hoax. That was a hoax.
yes,
When they
that
said stop,
Jonathan
leave me alone.
guy. We got to talk about. All right,
Yep, Joseph Morris.
let's switch.
But it gave me the creeps when I heard it. Oh, it was horrible.
So what is this? Why is the internet? Wait a second. Oh, I had never seen that before.
What? The axons or what's on the screen? What's on the screen?
Have you seen that video before? Let's watch that again. One sec. I had never seen it.
Yeah, Steve Harper. And they said that the home was not well built, that addition. So I don't know if that would, it would probably not be soundproof.
Okay.
I noticed another way in to the house.
Okay. Do you? This is why I don't think that 3D tour. Watch the kitchen when you look into the sliding glass door. Right there. I guess it could be.
Could be what?
I'll show you what I'm talking about. It's just weird. The 3D footage to me doesn't seem like it's that house. A lot resembles it, but not looking into the kitchen. That's where the creeper hung out right there. Huh.
He's looking up.
So here it says that Steve described the body from a sadistic male who killed them while blasting tight-lipped local police as cowards. And then he says, Steve says his daughter Kaylee was among the murdered students in Moscow, Idaho, said coroner Kathy Mabbitt had revealed the chilling details when they spoke. She says, "Sir, I don't think stabbed is the right word. It was like tears, like this was a strong weapon, not like a stab." She said these were big, open gouges. She said it was quick. These weren't something where you were going to be able to come up. They were not going to slowly bleed out. The grieving father continued. He also described how his beloved daughter's liver and lungs were slashed.
It's horrible.
Mm, can you imagine a hatchet?
More like tears.
Yeah, they were all, those girls were definitely beautiful. Okay, let me go
But
back. Let's see John Gillian. What were we going to say,
but
Chiz?
uh, I wanted to tell you about another route where he could have entered,
What is that?
and that is if you look at Xana's room, she has a window AC unit at the window, and it looks like there's just cardboard above it, because and maybe someone could have climbed up to that roof, being that it was so close to the that little hill, and gone in through the where the window unit is.
Huh. I think they probably wouldn't. I think they would in the sliding glass door. I think personally, they were inside the house.
Hmm. So many. I've tried so many. I mean, I've thought of so many different scenarios.
right?
Yeah, or Tony says a machete.
Yeah, where did Tony hear that?
He just said it was likely.
A lot of people don't like John Gillian. Let me pull it up. But I think he is definitely an intelligent man, guy in the bottom. And we all know who he is on the right. That's Nancy Gray's friend.
Oh yeah, she yeah.
Oh, this is a
He
great
likes
one.
yelling at him, and he doesn't mind.
I think she yells at everybody. All right, I'm going to
Well,
go use the little girl's room real quick, Chisby. I'm going to start this though.
okay.
Hello, concerned. Never saw you before. Hello, Steve Harper. Hello, Danielle Dragonette. Sorry, guys, I have a horrible chest cold. That's why I sound like I swallowed a frog. I could have swallowed a frog. Okay. You good, Chisby? I'm going to,
Mhm.
okay, here we go.
Point with families. You know, over the course of my career, I was in New Orleans before I was in Atlanta, and the response many times from families is they want something that they can physically hold on to, and it's at a primal level. They most families, and I'm sorry if I'm going far afield, but it's important for people to understand this. Most families in circumstances like this, when you go to tell them that someone has passed on, they don't. Most of the time, they don't want to know what happened. First question is, where are they? And it's quite striking. It's they have this. They want to cut. They want to see. They want to handle, to verify. I think on one level, and so these elements that are left behind. It is very powerful for them, and something that will certainly resonate.
And Joseph, to you again, I mean, you said from a forensic standpoint, the fact that the image questions back, I assume because you prefer to keep it as evidence, but can you expound on that?
Yeah, I want if it were me, and it's not me, I would just assume the entire building be locked down for a protracted period of time. There's nothing like. I have a real difficult time understanding why at this point, we haven't 4 weeks, because you have to take this into balance. Is it worth disrupting a year from now? That everybody is on the same page and that they have covered all of their bases, because once you breach that, once you cross that threshold, there's no going back. There's the older, so they love to say that you can't unring the bell. Once that tone goes forward, you can't recapture it, and that certainly applies in this case.
So there is other current news coming out of Moscow. One of the bits of information, Jonathan, to you, is the president of this Zon Odell and Ethan Chapin were allegedly at the night of the murder. First of all, the president came out and basically said, his heartbroken, and said he essentially didn't want to answer questions from the media. But he also offered up that there are zero surveillance cameras. You want to this at a house that there's no surveillance system whatsoever?
Oh, concerned
on the
citizen,
size of the school, really. And this is
2022 forever,
off-campus
are
fraternity house, so they, I think
no, they're
the
not
rules and
live.
regulations they fall
It's a
under
video.
may be
Mars
different. But I
playing.
would I would actually see a lot of these fraternity houses choosing not to have camera parties. So that doesn't surprise me at all. But I do want to say I agree totally with Joseph, and he and I are pretty much on line with the way we think. In that, once again, here we go with the Gonsalves family. Why can't these people understand that an investigation takes time? And when you disturb the scene, you can't go back and put that back together. Once it's disturbed, it's disturbed. So until they get further down the road, at least where they're starting to say, this is whose DNA is what, why would you even law enforcement giving into this? I was shocked when I heard this today on a profound level, because I've never seen where a family intimidates law
that
enforcement
makes
enough
sense,
to where law
Dragonette.
enforcement starts doing what they want in the investigation. I don't know if Joseph's ever seen that. This is I think it's pretty profound, and I think it's uncalled for. You'll get your things in time. It's only been like Joseph said, like 4 weeks.
Yeah, I think that because of the high-profile nature of the case, and there goes Carmela. I told you she gets antsy. She's 83. She'll start to wipe her eyes and do things,
John,
make
we
extraneous
are not on
noises.
television. You work for 25 years. We are on a podcast, but I can be human.
So Maddie's father, Joseph is getting nervous, I can tell. So Maddie's father has come out, and he said that police are giving the family daily updates, Jonathan. And I know you've got issues with the Gonsalves family, and we're going to get a little deeper into the interests when you spoke to me last time. But to both of you, I mean, the fact that Maddie's father says that police are giving them daily updates is even more reason, perhaps, why the Gonsalves family maybe shouldn't be talking as much publicly. Do you agree with that, Joseph, first, and then Jonathan?
I believe in maintaining a very tight bubble when it comes to an investigative perspective. That the more people you allow within that template, within that construct of everybody that's actually involved in the investigation, there's a higher probability of things becoming compromised. And, families are free to say whatever they want to say. That's all fine and good. Maybe they need to purge. I have no idea. I have no frame of reference for that. Our goal as forensic scientists, and certainly as investigators, should be laser focused on getting the crime solved. And you don't solve crimes by placating. Be stalwart, set your face like flint, and you endure what you have to endure relative to families. You be as compassionate as you possibly can, but your focus is not this. Your focus is getting this maniac off of the street.
Yeah, they change suspects.
Getting them into
like they change a baby's diaper.
Understand that. And everything else is of lesser value at this point in time. The sole focus and the totality of the resources relative to the police and the investigators, whether they're local, the state, or the feds, should be laser focused on capturing this person and not to get sidetracked with anything.
Carmela, God forbid something horrible happened to me. Would you tuxedo jacket back, or them conducting a very thorough investigation from an emotional, as a parent, as a grandparent? What is most important to you?
I heard the question. I wonder if the police afraid of being sued? Could the family sue the police? Is that legally possible?
I think we have seen from the very beginning that this police department and the prosecutor are very concerned with their image. I think that when they said that this was isolated killing and there's nothing to be afraid of, that was a save face political type of statement. And I think the way that this family in particular, and what we see now, I think they are afraid of being put in a negative spotlight and
financial. Steve Harper mentioned.
Yeah, and this, it just screams that to me. And I think, Joseph probably, I would imagine, probably agrees with me on that. Is that that they are trying to save face and make themselves look like a compassionate law enforcement entity, because if it's a college town, rather than putting on the stern face like a doctor who says, no, we have to take that tumor out, and despite the crying, does the job and gets it done. And I'm not seeing that here.
Okay. Okay, then where is the role of FBI in this?
Has to be invited. This is not a
Good
federal crime.
night.
So at this point
Concerned
anyway.
citizen
So
2022
the
forever.
FBI is invited.
Who's going to bed?
Concerned citizen 2022 forever.
Oh, good night, concerned. Yes, I agree. You guys have to catch this killer soon.
Hmm.
I mean, that guy Enon, though, he's a strange character. He was on Sleuth Mob, I think, interviewed him.
Really?
Hmm.
So what was he saying?
I didn't watch it.
Oh, okay. Well, he does have all those knives in a pretty messy apartment.
Because he lied the first time and said that he didn't hear anything. I'll show you the Facebook post.
It's
Investigator. I don't look away from type of behavior or possibilities just because it may offend somebody or because even going to talk. It's similar to a doctor when they do a health screening. You know, you're not going to not look at somebody who is extremely athletic and say that there's no possible way that they could get skin cancer, right? So even though skin cancer may affect people who lay out in the sun more or do whatever, or a bad where they're very pale and they're out in the sun. If somebody comes in and they say, I got a strange mole on me, you're not going to look, the doctor's not going to look away from that person and say, well, you're 25 and you're extremely athletic. And when they can respond to these things, people say and act in ways that they would never do in person to an individual. She would probably not use that language with me in person, but
Probably not.
yeah, but the reality is with these people, well, I understand their emotion, but what they have to understand is that be good at observing behaviors and statements and characteristics, and then they put together clues so that they can bring the people and feed into that that type of thing. An investigator who's trained and who's done investigations and does them properly will look at things slowly and methodically and will take ability into their mind, but then they will work through and say, okay, this is a possibility, but the evidence is pointing in this direction. If they feel strongly that it could be the other direction, then you, but ultimately you're looking at the totality of the circumstances and you're putting things together, not just through intuition, but also experience, and making these suggestions about anyone because I'm trying to get clicks or because I'm trying to get on television or radio. I've been on television, I've been on radio. Reality is, I think that what is missing in our society right now is the ability to spot people who are odd or who are doing odd things and have a propensity for violence, and they're ignoring that because of, it could be political reasons, or it could be because they just don't feel like it's right to judge people. And I think in this case, when this individual, Erica, I believe, is making this statement, I think I read this earlier, it doesn't come down to disrespect or not understanding people's grief. It comes down to looking at has looked at every single circumstance. And if I can point that out, then potentially someone else could go out and say, you know what? I don't agree with him on that. I just upper God and has these types of behaviors that might fit and lives within an hour of that. So that's my motivation behind this. And I know it offends some people, but I'm not in it making business discrimination and hoping that we can solve some of these problems.
Carmela.
I have just one more question about this. Did I understand? because of the nature of the weapon, of the knife, that the man who have cuts on the hands.
Say that, but it's a potential.
Well, the killer, and I assume the answer is going to be yes, that the killer was wearing some kind of cut blood at that crime scene for sure.
And you know, it's I was chatting yesterday, and out of cases I worked in New Orleans and Atlanta, I have, and I mean never worked a multiple sharp force injury homicide that involved this many people in one location. Never. And listen, I've only got a small slice of the pie statistically, you know, New Orleans and Atlanta, but pretty good sized population. I've had 2 victims in a home that were stabbed to death, but never 4 like this. So you have a higher probability given the higher number of victims. Exhaustion plays a big role.
It definitely takes, you have to be strong or you have to be completely on a adrenaline high. Well, you'd have to be.
Yeah, just the
I
anticipation.
right?
But if they were asleep and he just, if his knife was sharpened, he could have just cut, like butter, cut one, cut two, but and then the other two he fought, but he was still able to slash him or gouge him.
Mhm.
And if they know exactly where to do it, then the blood's just gonna pump out with their heart beating, especially if they start beating, their heart starts beating fast, they're gonna bleed out faster.
Well, I want to hear everybody in the side chats opinion because I love because Chisme will tell you Chisme and I will get into a heated moment and she will be thinking her opinion and I respect her opinion, but I'm like, oh no,
And I respect
you are
yours.
coco laca chica crazy,
Puta.
and then we'll get to the point where it's like, you know what? I'll talk to you later.
Bueno,
But
bye. No, but because I do come out with some outlandish ones, but you never know. Something
my
like that
thing
happens.
is I think that this person might have been triggered. He might have been in the house before. I think he was perving up in the top when Kaylee was still there. I think that she rejected him, or I don't know what it was, but I think he was watching that house
Hmm.
up in the bushes.
Yeah.
Maybe he was watching Maddie. I don't know. But I think that seeing Kaylee come into town in the Range Rover, hanging out with her friends, maybe that was a run in and he said something and she just blew it off. But something, I think the person was in the house. I think that Ethan woke up when the person was coming downstairs, or hey, maybe he was going to the bathroom at the same time. He ended up killing Ethan. Xana heard something. He killed Xana. And supposedly the front door was open at 2 o'clock in the morning because Enon said that. But I believe
Yeah.
that they went up the back. The front's too risky with the sorority house out there and the other apartment complexes. I would go through and stay in the woods. Could be steroids, Jennifer, but
Yeah.
to keep going and to kill 4, unless it was just planned on Kaylee. Kaylee was sleeping in Maddie's room. But then we have to also remember that the dog was locked up. That to me is a very bizarre.
They
But
didn't want the dog to see, witness that, or to get hurt.
yeah, that's what tells me that, because it being Jack DeCore's dog too, but I just don't think it was him. I think this is somebody that they rejected
Yeah.
or
If
I've watched.
Kaylee, yeah, if Kaylee rejected someone all throughout the school year, you know, and then she took off, and he's like, "Oh man, I missed my chance."
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden, he sees her, or she sees her,
Hmm.
and she's like, "This is my last opportunity. I've got to talk to her. I've got to, you know." And then she rejected him, and he's like, "What the hell? You're not gonna do, reject me. That's the last chance." And he went berserk.
And then,
Maybe.
and I'm sure they knew that the graduation was the 7th. Then we know that she was moving to Texas with the new job. There's a lot of different scenarios that it could go, but I feel like it was a Danny Rollin Jr. I pray it's not a serial killer and it was just a mass murder on that house, but oh my gosh. And then we've got the two surviving roommates.
Careful that they don't have as much strength. Uh, the defensive injuries. Okay, just make that clear. Uh, um, with that said, there was an awareness. If there was an awareness, there was an attempt to thwart this individual. And so that's why nail scrapings and nail clippings are going to be very important. Jonathan, and they cut furrows in the spring when they're going into planting season. And when somebody is
Oh shit! If someone with a beard would have gotten scratched,
are
you
familiar
wouldn't be able to see it.
with a little wooden stick, they have a little to that, like a drug is full of paper, and then we'll go behind there and clip the fingernails and retain that. There's two purposes, or anything that's trapped beneath the nails, and have it analyzed. Certainly, you might have viable DNA there. Another part is when you look at the nails that have been clipped, you can see any type of trace evidence
Grapes
that might
into
be caught up
raisins.
on that leading edge of the nail. You can look at hair, really begin to find hair that you wouldn't see with the unaided eye. So a lot has been made over the perpetrated apps where it's commingled with the victim's blood, but we can't discount completely that whoever it was that was attempting to defend themselves may have scratched this individual. And that's why it's really important to collect that evidence at autopsy and be very careful with it. Jonathan and I had spoken about this at length, and I've talked to others as well. The dynamic, I heard that you had co-sleeping in both these cases where you had the two young ladies co-sleeping allegedly. So they're contained within this space in this bed. There's
Marietta, Kaylee was not living there any longer. She just came back that day to show her friends her new car that she got that day and to say goodbye to her friends because she was moving to Austin on in June, beginning of January, I mean, to start her new job.
possibility that the perpetrator left behind trace evidence of them. because
Good.
individual.
Done.
It's so very fragile. I cannot begin to describe this. So all of that transcripts have collected all this. And this is just one of the things that I think that a lot of my colleagues in forensics think about, when you get down into the details of this.
And Carmela, you were lucky you missed this part of the last show, but Jonathan was trained to kill. That's what Navy SEALs do. They get trained to kill
That's
people.
why I'm so nice to
Yeah,
him.
and he taught was that the wounds on Kaylee
This
appeared
is
to
the
be
last
more
part.
significant. I don't remember the exact phrasing, but some, basically said that the wounds on his daughter seemed more significant than on Maddie's body. And you said, well, it's tough to kill. It's tough to stab someone. Maybe the person just got tired by the time they got to Maddie, which is what Joseph just alluded to. But real quickly for the audience, how tough is it to stab someone to death?
Well, two things there. Three things. First of all, everybody on this show, I would never kill you, but I would give my life for you. So just so you know that, right? So I'm here
Spoken like a
for
true
you,
SEAL.
not against you.
Thank you,
So you got it, buddy. So with that being said, when I was talking about this earlier on another show that I was on, the police department is now refuting that and saying that that was not the case.
Really?
That
Sounds
Really?
creepy because it keeps cutting off.
is, we run out of a condiment in the refrigerator and we're like, darn it, I crave more of that, or chocolate. These people crave
Hang on, guys.
killing. And so they get satiated as they kill. So at some point there, the person was probably satiated with the killing. But killing a person with a knife.
What just happened 20 minutes ago and now?
The roads
Well,
are
we're going to have
closed
to open up the incident report. Wait. I'm going to go
because
check
of
it out. I just want to
weather.
listen to this last part.
Yeah, because
Oh,
of
because of
weather,
weather?
or
Oh, I
because
don't
of
know.
investigating.
Investigating, but just a 2 more minutes how he talks about this killer part, and we'll go to Reddit.
Up close is a very dramatic experience. Let's
Listen,
take.
this is important.
And this was trained to kill. And Jonathan, you want to recap real quick because I want to get back to
I
Stephen
think it's
Zalvis with you.
snowing. Let me go
It's
check.
not
Be right back.
necessarily easy to kill a human,
It
especially
has to be
stabbing. And one of
snowing.
the things that Gonzalez, the father, came out and said was that the wound on Kaylee appeared to be more significant. I don't remember the exact phrasing, but basically said that the wounds on his daughter seemed more significant than on Maddie's body. And you said, well, look, it's tough to kill. It's tough to stab someone. Maybe the person just got tired by the time they got to Maddie, which is what Joseph just alluded to. But real quickly for the audience, how tough is it to stab someone to death?
Two things there. Three things. First of all, everybody on this show, I would never kill you, but I would give my life for you. So just so you know that, right? So I'm here
Spoken like a
for
true
you,
SEAL.
not against you.
Thank you,
So you got it, buddy. So with that being said, when I was talking about this earlier on another show, the police department is now refuting that and saying that that was not the case. That's something that came from Stephen Gonsalves. That they never said that, and that's not the case. However, when it does come, when you are killing, right? So shooting somebody with the people that are committing these heinous crimes don't have a conscience like you and I do. Whereas we run out of a condiment in the refrigerator and we're like, darn it, I crave more of that, or chocolate. These people crave killing, and so they get satiated as the person was probably satiated with the killing. But killing a person with a knife up close is a very dramatic experience. Let's take all the physicality out of it. There is sight, the sight of these things occurring, the sight of someone dying, the sight of blood everywhere. There is smell. Blood has and if you've ever cut yourself, it's an incredible smell. And the more that's there, the stronger that scent goes. If he pierces the gut in any way, the odor could just be overwhelming that gets into that room. So it's a very visual experience. It's a visceral
Oh my
from an
gosh,
odor
I hadn't
standpoint.
thought of that.
For you and I, we would think this is gross, but for somebody who's literally almost orgasmic as they do this, and then when it comes to physicality
Yeah.
of it, your adrenaline is so high as you're stabbing somebody and they're fighting back. It's the same thing. There's four of us. We'd have four opponents right now. If we started wrestling, if you just wrestled your mom last, your mom would have the upper hand because I'm going to be weak. If you guys put up a real fight and we're going all out, by the time you get to that last person, I'm exhausted. And so I think this is something that law enforcement really needs to take into account, because that plays into the offering up. I mean, if I was a killer, I'd say I'm exhausted. I've been satiated. Nobody who gets satiated, you'll never hear anybody who says, "Oh my gosh, that was the best meal I've ever had. I want to drive 6 hours now." When you've been satiated, you want to bask in it. And I can
Yeah, that,
guarantee you that.
yes,
Oh my
Back to
gosh.
Stephen
copper
Gonzalez,
smell, but he
put a bow on
said
that a little bit.
if
But
you cut the gut,
you seem to be
that
veering
smell
away from
of
a rage
excrement.
killing
One sec, one
and
sec,
more of
one sec.
what I would describe in my novice mind as like, is that the assumption that you are making? And then, Carm, I would like to get your take on what you think of that. But
I don't think it was a rage killing. I think if it was anything besides somebody who was getting satiated by killing, they've had an escalation of this, where this type of a killing is so brutal and there's so many people involved that you typically only see this in like a hitman in Mexico, where they go and take out a complete family or police department, or you see this in a serial killer, right? So I think when we look at this, if it was a rage killing, the rage, only thing I could have thought about is that this group was so tight. They keep talking about how tight this group was, that perhaps the relationship with somebody else. I don't think if it was a incel, which is somebody who is celibate without their without wanting to be, so without involuntary celibate, I don't think that they would kill one of the girls and then continue to kill. And I most like public, because most incels are very weak individuals. They're not strong, masculine individuals. They're people that don't have a lot of strength. So with all that being said, what I see here is somebody killing to satiate a desire, not somebody who was killing because they were angry at any particular person.
John, I want to just get you. So the last time you made it a point to say that the
Okay.
behavior of Stephen Gonzalez.
We're not going to go into that part because we've heard it. It's interesting, though, what he says about the person that uses a knife. Scary. Now, what were you saying, Chisby, baby? Hello, Fiona. The baby woke up.
Oh, he said that. Hold on, let me. I had to take my doggy outside. He said that, once they get a smell of the blood, or once they cut them and you get that smell, and even if you nip, like if you nip or cut the intestine, then you're gonna get that smell of excrement, and that's what they like. So it's horrible.
Okay. So, what's going on now on Reddit?
I haven't read it lately.
Somebody said the roads were blocked.
Oh, yeah.
Let me see. All right, let me open up Twitter real quick. I'm on Reddit, but crazy.
They said Jack S was awkward with the females, or creepy with the females.
So, how do you get back Huh. How do you get to the beginning of these posts?
Scroll up.
Nope. This goes to history. Let me go check on Twitter. I'll find it. This is the one that's talking about. Wait 1 second. I think I found it. Okay. General discussion. Today marks 1 month. Elantra moving with the lights on. So I
They
don't see
said they
anything about the
saw
road blocked off.
uh, they saw one on a camera at a convenience store, a gas station, a
Mm-hmm.
white car. Then someone in the
You go.
chat said that they had a stolen license plate, a stolen car from Washington.
Yeah, it's right here. Idaho cops take hours of video from gas station. This could be a huge break.
The worker said she's been looking at video for hours and hours until she found it. That's it.
To drive a white car at any time of the day, including 3:45 a.m. Huh.
That's around the time. I wonder where the gas station is.
I wonder where. You guys don't think
It,
it's weird that non in his first post he said that he didn't hear any screams, he heard nothing, and then he goes to it always goes to company rabbit. Hello, cupcake.
I'll be right back. I'm going to bring her in. I know you don't want me to take her outside, but she has to learn. Just kidding.
Oh, what is this? So where is it that they're saying the roads are blocked off? White car spotted.
Detectives collect of 4 University of Idaho
Oh,
students, according to store workers, An overnight assistant manager told Fox News Digital that she's been reviewing the tapes a little bit at a time over the past few days, looking for clues in her downtime on the graveyard shift. She said she was not working on the night of the murders. Monday night, she took the hour and spot the car. She said she took a picture of the screen and sent it to an email address police set up to receive tips. I had a weird feeling to go get on the cameras, she said, asking that her name not be publicized out of safety concerns as the suspect remained at large. She turned down a side street off Highway 8. Investigators arrived Tuesday evening around 11 a.m. and collected the video. The store manager said that the officers identified themselves as state detectives and took a whole shift's worth of video. Asked if they'd found anything substantial as they left the building, one responded, "Not yet." The detectives went directly to the police station after leaving the gas station, and it was too soon for investigators to comment on the contents of the video. Robbie Johnson, a police spokeswoman, said police continue to seek help from the public but said she could not immediately confirm whether the car on the gas station's video was the same Elantra.
Well, I think I really hope
Yes,
they have to catch this guy soon.
they do.
Police have said since early the investigation, looking for a fixed blade knife that was believed to have been used. The Idaho Statesman spoke to Moscow building supply store manager earlier this month who said police had asked if the business sold K-bar knives. The store does not sell them.
Hmm. If they used a machete, as someone mentioned earlier in the chat, I mean, they would have an advantage because they can stab them from far away. You know what I mean? The arm's length. And this searcher, Jason, the underwater searcher, he has a machete and he was cutting through cutting through the trees and all of that, and he didn't get a cut or anything. So they're real sharp, and only thing he got was a blister.
Hmm.
So the one my son has here, just it's just there. It's real dull. I want to sharpen it so I can go to use it, not on people but on weeds and stuff.
And now they see people
Gotta
running
get
in
you
the
on this
in the
car
footage.
because this
Yeah.
image that at a gas station nearby that said she's been going over the through their surveillance tape.
So it's about a mile away, a gas station. We know that it was around 3:45 in the morning that they caught the white car. 3:45 in the morning, same time frame as the murders. Caught the car going by. Police, of course, are looking for a white car they believe was in the area of the murders when it happened. We raced over to the gas station when Fox Digital had this photo. They've sort of shut down there, threatened to call the police on us. But
Ostensibly, their gas pumps are down, but they have this note saying, reporters with any questions, please call this number. That number is disconnected, and they've shut down even entry into that gas station, which is filled with products you would sell even if your gas pumps were down. So that is extremely curious that gas station. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think the gas, the caution tape is a little misleading because they're having like an outage there. Their computers are down and their gas pumps are down. That seems to have nothing to do with the fact that they got surveillance video.
It does seem weird, though. All that potential, product
Yeah.
sales now, just because they're, I mean, why not take cash? But okay, we'll give them the benefit of the doubt on that. Next thing, critical. You got an exclusive today with the lawyer who's been hired by Kaylee Gonsalves's family, which is, you know, incredible in itself. But what did you find out?
Yeah, and let me actually, I just thought of something when you were talking. I want to remind you that I'm going to get to the lawyer. So after we went to the gas station, and you'll think this is interesting, and we weren't able to get that video, and they said they were going to call the police. We said, let's go to all the other businesses in the area, Ashley. So we found a vape shop very close by up the road with a camera that also pointed onto the roadway. And the person working inside told me that police came to their shop 9 days after the murder and asked for a video that was pointed toward the road, but that the video had been deleted because it only lasts a week. So they were able to give police the video, and this is down the street from the gas station. I just remembered that, which I thought was interesting.
That's fascinating, and I'll tell you what. 9 days later, I know that you only have a couple of days to go get all the video you can, because it's not an endless storage, world out there. And if you don't go early and get everything you can, you get an end like they got. That is, I'm sorry, I give you. I could have been mind, especially know the car. You could have shown exactly, and we could have followed the digital trail of where that car made off to. But you know, you start 9 days late, you lose 7 days. So that's sad.
Wow.
Well, that's either completely shitty investigating, or it's because they have a person of interest and they're just waiting for what they need, or maybe find them.
Yeah.
So
Or
let
if
me show
they're
you guys something
short-staffed.
creepy. I gotta wrap. The what?
If they're short-staffed, then they should have asked the store owners to save the footage or to, send it to them.
I'm gonna do a live tomorrow afternoon to go over. That's why the internet is, because I didn't realize, but it is snowing outside.
Oh, maybe that's why it's going in and
Let me
out.
show you guys. Go ahead.
No, I said it. That maybe that's why it's going in and
Yeah,
out, the sound, because it's snowing. And Marietta Roser said, I think you have a loose wire.
Now I'm on Wi-Fi, but I live in the mountains, and I am like the mountains. Ask Chisney.
Yeah.
Like I live at the end of the Appalachian Trail into the White Mountains. Like you can see Mount Washington from my house on a clear day in New Hampshire, and I live in Maine.
Mm-hmm. And cold.
But I live at the end of the
We're at 64 degrees, mostly cloudy.
Yeah, this guy Enon. He comes from Pullman, Washington.
Oh, that state keeps coming up.
Well, look at how close. I mean, the area where they're at in Idaho is so close to Canada, very close, which is right above here, and this is where Cordia Lane is. And there's a
Mm-hmm.
couple of ladies' clubs up there. So here's Moscow. Here's the line to Washington State, and here's Pullman. Oh, let me move that comment. Hello, Sarah D. So Enon comes from Pullman because this one campus of the University of Washington is only 8 miles from University of Idaho. And like I said, Kaylee and the core come up here from this area, and that core of day Alon, I'm sure I'm saying it wrong.
Yeah, and they're saying that name is related to Jack's last name.
Yeah, that's where Jack grew up. Jack and Kaylee went to the same high school.
But the name, their
Yeah,
last name, and the lake name.
what do you mean the lake name?
Okay, the lake's name is Cardaloo or something like that.
That's a city.
Cardaloon, huh?
Cord, yeah, it's a city. Cordia Lane.
Okay. Well, I read that even though it's spelled differently, that
Ooh.
either Jack's family owns part of that, the lake and all of that. But I don't know. I haven't verified it, but I've read it.
I get confused. Is it Showwater or Decora's parents that are both medical doctors?
Showwater.
Okay. So here's Enon, and he comes from Pullman. I can't find one address on this guy in Moscow, but not yet because I ended up getting sick. But I can put him in Pullman, Washington. This is crazy. Inhalant use possession. So I guess he's doing what Nick Carter was doing. I mean, not Nick Carter. What's his name? Aaron Carter.
Oh, he was.
Possession of marijuana.
That was Cupcake.
Convicted. Dismissed. And then he's got bad driving record. More marijuana. Marijuana. Fugitive from justice. The Lane County Sheriff. A narcotic something. I don't know what the codes are. Robbery. Second degree. Controlled substance violation.
What is second degree? I
WI.
wonder.
No, DWLS. Would you say?
I was wondering what second degree is. Robbery.
Well, it's not a first degree offense. Whatever he did, it's the second degree. So it's the second one worse to the first. But here's
Yeah.
another one: criminal trespass, second degree. He pled guilty. Trespassing, obstructing
Ooh,
an officer. Oh, prescription drugs.
fentanyl.
I
I'm
don't
just
know.
saying.
Controlled substance, no prescription felony. I don't know. But he's bad.
Oh, and it keeps going.
He's just a creeper. I just like if I didn't know whatever, he would just completely scream out to me that he could be the one. He's weird. I mean, his Facebook is weird.
How
Like
long does
who
his record go back to? What's the earliest
does
date?
does he seem like the type of guy that gets home from work at 1 o'clock in the morning and sips tea and plays PlayStation and decides to take out his juggling sticks? I got a picture of him juggling his fire sticks. Okay, it was 2012. 10 years ago, he started being, so at 20, he started being bad. Nope, 2010. Up here's 2018, 2018, 14, 12, 12, 11, 11, 11, 12, 10. Huh.
I mean, I've seen people that juggle fire, whatever they're called, fire sticks, like in Hawaii. Is that what you mean?
Hang on, I'm going to cough. My gosh. Ooh. What'd you say, honey? I'm sorry, I had a cough.
Oh, I just said the juggling sticks. I've seen juggling sticks like here at some of the shows, it's rare, like at the raves, and like the guys in Hawaii, the dancers, they throw the fire sticks. But when now that I think about it, and I think his name is a foreign name,
Sticks.
but they drink a lot of tea. If you come from Iraq or Afghanistan, they do drink a tea every single day, hot tea.
Yeah, this guy's weird. Yeah, but it doesn't like with his record and the coming home and this is the guy that's the chef.
Yeah.
On his like on his background, I haven't really had a chance to dig into him because as soon as I started digging into him, like I honestly started getting this insane chest cold, and I never get sick. Ugh.
Len says,
But
check Twitter,
I want to
please.
show you guys.
Twitter,
Okay, I'm gonna
something's
check.
going on.
I'm on it. Let me share my screen. Let me show you these pictures real quick of this guy doing his juggling thing,
Oh, okay,
and
yeah.
just like the picture of him naked. And then of course we have to worry about like the bottle on the floor, like he's a wino. Let me open this
Oh,
up real quick.
okay. And then I have the definition of robbery in the second degree.
Probably a misdemeanor
No, it's worse. Okay,
in
let me
Idaho.
just read it. No, I'm talking
Okay,
about the definition.
so here he is running around doing fire starter tricks. Let me share my whole screen so I can just show you guys without stopping. So here he is. I don't know. He's strange to me. And then we've got him doing the fire sticks. And this is, I guess, his room with his little kitty. Pretty cat. What's down there? A roll of toilet paper.
He's got a mixer.
Wait a second.
A music mixer.
What is that? Did I close that picture? What was that a picture of on his wall?
I didn't notice that. I noticed the mixer. Oh my God.
Huh. I mean, is that normal to, I don't know. Do we have a real man in the house? When that has cahoonies?
It only seems weird to me because of they look similar to two of the girls. And then up there is like a like a plantation kind of thing. Oh no, it's in New Orleans.
I mean, people can totally look into this, but I'm not a conspiracy theory and be like, that's Santa and that's Kaylee or Maddie, but
If that's his fantasy.
and look at yeah. And then you've got I went and read the Facebook messages. You've got these people that are harassing him, telling them that they believe that he did it, and he's just laughing to his friends on his Facebook page. But the only friends that he seems to have on Facebook are people that were in treatment with him. And then this one at work. Not to mention, where's that one with?
And he saw the door open at 8:30, wide open.
Well, that's what he claims. Scary, right?
Yeah. Maybe he thought he left it open.
Okay, so I mean, but look at this. Like I get taking pictures of stuff,
Oh,
but
that's like
why would you take a
gouges
picture of the raw meat? Huh?
and not the end result. That looks like gouges.
Maybe he was tenderizing it. He doesn't explain what he's doing. That's
Well,
just weird to
he
me.
pulled that
I know
bone
you're a
out.
cook, but
He filleted it. Oh my God. He filleted that bone. Go back and look at it, please.
I
Remember the
will.
dog?
Look, and there's one more. Look at this one. Like,
Oh
why?
yeah, I remember that one.
Why?
Well,
And you don't even say anything.
see what I mean?
I
He
see the
took the
bone.
bones, filleted it.
Wait, is he trying to make it look like something?
I don't know, but they said that the dog was filleted. The dog in the previous, when they found the neighbor's dog, I don't know how long ago that was, a couple of months ago, and they said it was skinned and filleted.
And another thing, this is definitely the pants that she's wearing in that group of her friends, with all of them, with Maddie on her shoulders.
Oh,
This
deboning.
guy to me is strange. And then where's the other picture of floor eating something? Here it is. Here we go. So the cat's eating chicken. God, I hope it's chicken.
Yeah.
I don't know what
Look,
that
there's doo doo.
is.
He's got doo doo, cat doo doo on the edge.
But look at this.
Wine.
A gallon.
You see any binoculars or anything like that?
Uh-uh. What is that? That looks like a mayonnaise or a wrapper or something like from food. Oh, too bad we can't read that.
Receipt. Yeah. 2 receipts.
Right?
I hope he didn't buy the knife. He didn't have a receipt. I'm not saying he's the one, but in case it's just a theory.
And then, of course, this is the other Jack out of it that gave Ethan that $6 first donation to the GoFundMe. That was his fraternity brother, which I don't think he has anything to do with anything. My opinion. But he claimed that he didn't hear any screams on the first night. Right here. 4 cabin across the street. No screams, no evidence, no trace. So, like professional killers, but why? Only 3 sorority girls. Shit doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So
Two
what
days
about the
after.
Ethan? Ethan's not mentioned. And
3,
Ethan's not
right?
mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
That's supposed to be sorority. I find him very strange. And then
Yeah,
of
he
course
could
we
be an
have this
incel.
room. That one of the girls may be pregnant, so we cannot ignore the possible death of an unborn child here. Whew, the web sleuths are out, but this is weird. Am I the only one that thinks this is weird to be in a 30-year-old man's house?
I think that's weird only
Okay,
because of the
maybe not.
similarities of the way they look, like the girl, some of the girls, 2 of the girls. But if
Yeah,
you're in a
Mariette, it's
room,
probably not him, but it's definitely. Hey, Leisha, good to see you. But I think it's definitely, you know,
hello.
I gotta get to bed. But even though when they said about, the type of knife it might have been, the stabbings, the this, the that, I truly believe that Kaylee or Madison or both, there's something there that was some type of sexual frustration that was taken out on them.
Yeah,
I think that's
frustration
what,
or hatred.
yeah, I think they're leaving something out that only the killer knows as far as that.
And since there's no reward, they may have someone in mind, but they're just not letting us know yet.
Well, if that's the case, Tony, it could be a clean freak. Then it's definitely not Enon because his house is a pigsty. Oh, Twitter, Twitter. Hang on.
Yeah. Um,
Back to Twitter real quick.
yeah, I think he was joking, saying that he's some sort of clean freak. Yeah, he was messy. Oh, what I was saying is, if he has a 1 bedroom or a efficiency apartment, and he's just staring at that picture when he's home, that's gonna make him fantasize.
Oh shit.
And I wonder if it was
Okay.
hand drawn. If it was hand drawn, maybe someone who's looking at them and drawing it.
I'm an artist. I draw portraits from old photos, which involve deep blurring. I followed this case from the start, so I took a screenshot and started to work on it. Interesting. Wow.
Does it look like Jack D?
No. Nope. It's, let me pull up a picture of show water now. Hang on.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
know
even
it
think it
looks
looks
like
like show
him.
water.
I know it looks like Showwater, but now that he did that, his chin looks like Jack D.
Yeah, Jack had a full beard that night though.
Oh,
Let me see where are you? Show water.
now did Showwater get kicked out of the corner club that night or previous night?
I don't know if he got kicked out of a club, but I know he got kicked out of a fraternity. I'm looking for Jack's the hunting picture. One sec. It could be Showwater. I just don't get why they don't say his name as far as him being the guy is seen at the food truck.
I thought it was because his family's wealthy.
Okay, here we go. Huh, that's interesting. All right, guys. But this is him back in 2015. It could
Oh, he
definitely
was
be him.
teen.
I think so. I think it has the same look, the same shape eyes.
Yeah, and that's the picture where the knife is, huh? Or one
Yeah,
of
let
the
me share my
pictures.
whole screen and we'll do a side by side. Yeah, I can see it.
Well, Lynn B says, look up the white car Ellie's looking for looks to be identical in Jack D's driveway.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do an early live tomorrow in the afternoon because I have got to get to bed. It's at 3:30, but I can see the resemblance. I mean, he's got maybe more of a square jawbone, but I can't tell he was a lot younger there. Ooh. Okay, what am I looking at, Lynn?
The the white car in Jack D's driveway.
Okay. Wait, what is this? Walking around Moscow, Idaho, I spun around and saw this. I spit out my orange juice. Is that Murphy? Okay. What am I looking for? Choose me.
Jack D's driveway, the white car in Jack D's driveway.
Okay, so where? Um, I don't. Let me know if is it on
You
the
mean
Twitter feed?
on Google Maps, Lynn, or on a post? Yes, justice and prayers.
What am I looking for, guys?
I think it's on Google Maps. At Jack's house, there's a white car. Is that what you mean, Lynn?
Oh, I got it. Yeah, we're gonna have to do that. Hello, Buffalo Mountain.
Okay.
Jen, Jen. See, I can't even talk, guys. And we'll talk. Yeah, we'll do it. Email it, and we'll do it tomorrow. I have to get to bed though, guys. I have to actually work tomorrow with my
Oh,
horrible
okay.
chest cold. Yeah.
Maybe you can call
Excuse me.
in.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for having
Kaz,
me.
thank you if you're listening,
Thanks,
everyone.
Kaz.
Huh, right? All right, guys. Stay vigilant and keep your babies safe. I
Okay,
can't
bye
believe
bye.
Christmas is almost here.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
I
guys.
know
Thank you all
you've
for
been
coming
bad.
in. You know we love you so much. God, I'm starting to sound like a frog. Okay. All right. All right. Good night, guys.